Hi everyone, been here with another Citizen vlog, and this is a city past. I'm going to have a look at this thing today. One of these handbooks that they used to give out for the supporters clubs. Obviously it was established in 1949. This covers season 73-74, so we'd had a 72-73 season, which wasn't fantastic. But I'm going to have a quick look through this. I'm going to split it into a couple of parts actually. There's quite a lot of stuff in here, so I might ask you a few questions just to test your knowledge as we're going through, as you know we usually do with these things. Anyway, please, if you're new to the channel, please push your subscribe button. That'd be fantastic. Push the bell notification so you know these little vlogs are coming out. And please tell your friends. Thumbs up's always nice as well. It's nice to get views. It's nice to get thumbs ups anyway with this. 73-74. I mean, I was 14 that season. It started to go near. I was going to all the home games. Been going to all the home games since the mid '60s, but this was sort of around the time I was thinking about getting to some away games as well, which we've touched upon on other things as well. But it's great looking through this old book. I mean, I don't know how many of these there are. I think this is the only one. I may have one or two others, but this is, as I'm looking through the memory boxes I've got, this is the sort of only one I found really. So there might be some others up somewhere else. No price on it because it was free. Obviously, it must be given to supporters clubs. There's a lot of advertised in it, so that's probably what paid for the printing, etc. And obviously, probably I would doubt they made any money out of it. But obviously, it's all in line with the supporters club. We got adverts. Alexander Sports. I remember that. Do you remember that on in Fallowfield there? Absolutely. Remember that. Obviously Roy Clark would own that at one stage, didn't he, Alexander Sports? But I think I bought a couple of things from there. I always found it a little bit expensive though. I don't know about you. Yeah, so obviously looking at the Manchester City Football Club, it's quite interesting. The phone number. Do you remember? This is just a little bit of fun. Do you remember? Obviously it was 0161, but do you remember what the actual phone number was, or the first three digits at least? The code, the area code. So obviously the Manchester City one, but it was 06 was I was going to say 0161 then, but obviously it was 061 in those days, wasn't it? So it was 3 digits followed by 4 digits. So there's a couple of options with the second number, but second 4-digit number. But can you remember the phone number? And obviously, can you remember the postcode? There's a postcode for the souvenir shop and a postcode for the club. They were very close together, but if you can remember either of those two, absolutely fantastic. Chairman, obviously, at the time was Alexander, was the chairman, and the vice chairman was a certain PJ Swales, and the manager for this season, start off the managers this season anyway, was a Mr. Johnny Hart, who obviously we remember from, again, if you look at any of my City history vlogs as a player, etc. So it's quite interesting. They say the supporters club, the president of the supporters club was Roy Clark, Esquire, and the life vice president was Arthur Walmsley, Esquire, and the chairman Leslie Saul. So obviously, I wasn't really into these supporters clubs, to be honest with you. I joined one in the late 90s, early 2000s, just to when I lived in Reddish. I joined the Reddish supporters club for a couple of years, but it's never really been my thing. I've not really been into organisations and working men's clubs and committees and things like this. Obviously I've been in a few working men's clubs in my life, but it's never sort of appealed to me, that side of things. And there's a list of all the branches, and we've literally only got, well, there's 18 branches. I don't think there's any affiliated for them. As I said, I'm not too into this sort of thing, but you had Abbey Hay, Ardwick, Ashton, Brooks Bar, Chorlton on Medlock, Crewe, Duckingfield, Davy Hume, I'm getting posh, Davy Hume Districts, Hadfield, Holyhead, Higher Openshaw, Levenshulme, London, Longsight, Middleton, Mosley, Reddish and Warrington. So there was 18 branches listed at that time. It's quite good. City and souvenir shop there, you got an advert for that from Main Road. I was asking for the girl's name, and no one supplied it. I had a picture of the woman who used to serve in that souvenir shop. I don't think I got. I may have missed it, but on one of my other vlogs, I've asked for the name, and obviously, then again, I might not put the vlog out yet. I've done that many vlogs. There's so many that I'm putting so many out a week, obviously, but I'm sort of well ahead of myself with vlogs. So, just in case, just make sure I've got plenty. We got the City team there, obviously, for the season. But quite interestingly enough, the two characters there, the end ones, obviously both those, well, I should who they are, but obviously the Wyn Davies and Ian Mellor. Obviously Wyn Davies is included in the photo, but he'd actually left for United, and Ian Mellor had left for Norwich City at the time. So Yeah, that's a great team lineup, isn't it? There, so still a good team. I say we didn't have a great 72, 73. We were hoping for better things 73, 74, and we were quite close to being better, wasn't it? But just failed a little bit miserably, unfortunately. And there's a good action picture here now of a game against Liverpool, obviously the season before 72, 73, and it's obviously, do you know? Obviously, there's a back of Francis Lee there, but can you remember who that player is there? Who's in the shot, jumping there? Remember who that is? It's an interesting one. That's quite a tough one. I wouldn't have known, to be honest with you. You know what that is there? And then we've got a great advert for the Audi there. The Audi 100 LS and the R08. Did you own one of them things? Obviously, I was a bit young for cars at that time. I wasn't a big car fan anyway. I wasn't really into cars as such. I learnt to drive because I knew I had to, but it didn't really bother me really motoring. But did you own one of those Audis or anything like that? Piece on the City Social Club, and that was an interesting add-on. Obviously, they still probably to this day exist. Do you want money? Yeah, so there's a little ad there. Earn more part-time than full. Homeowners with a telephone. So obviously a bit of cold calling there, isn't it? It's even in those days. Contact a number, and the number's actually Gorton. I used to have a 370 number myself, so obviously not, I'm Mr. Foster. So that would have been sort of Pete's interest, wouldn't it? Oh, what am I doing? So anyway, if you work for that firm, let me know what they were selling or what they were ringing up about. Got a great image here. I mean, again, I would have forgotten this. I do remember it now. I know his name, but a great image of a player. Do you remember who that was? What was his name? Yeah, great picture. He had a bit more of an afro at times as well, I think, from memory. But it's easily forgotten. Some adverts. Star of India restaurant. Remember the Star of India restaurant? And Cook's Travel. Well, they're no longer with us, are they? So that was interesting. Yeah, Star of India restaurant, 35A Oxford Street. Did you have a few? I wasn't into curries and stuff at that age. I got into them a little bit more as I got older, but again, it wasn't my sort of cup of tea. And interestingly enough, the player that was shown against Liverpool, I've got a better picture of him here. So if you didn't know him against Liverpool, is that any help to you? Who it is? Some obviously a closer image of who it is. And then you got the advert. It's a turnpike. I think I've been in the turnpike on Wilmslow Road, Withington. You remember the turnpike? Did you go in the turnpike yourselves? Some good memories, and this is what I like about these books, is they are some good memories. Advert for Ladbrokes, obviously still around, aren't they? Number one in Britain at the time. Are they number one still now? I'm not too sure. Score with Ladbrokes, great full page ad there, the sort of thing in the handbook. And obviously a piece on Joe Hart, from Joe Hart, which made quite interesting reading. So if I can, I'll just sort of read out what Mr. Hart said, the manager of Manchester City for this season. I've seen a few new seasons in my time at Main Road, but this one represents the most challenging and the most exciting as far as I'm concerned. July 21st, the date pre-season training began, might be the official opening date, but I like to think that Manchester City is in my blood, and I for one, like the thousands of City hardcore supporters the club depends on, don't turn on my feelings for the club according to the calendar. When I came here in 1944 as a 15-year-old, I was equivalent to what is now an apprentice professional. I must confess I didn't know too much about football and nothing about City. Arsenal and Hearts were the only clubs I knew about. Arsenal because they were the big shots, and Hearts because of their name, as much as anything. Heart of Hearts? Can't see the headline, no could they. While I was learning the trade at Main Road, I quickly came to appreciate the headlines mean nothing and hard work means a lot. First of all, you need ability, then you need to be able to work and to apply it. Then you need a little bit of luck. In all the jobs I've done at Main Road, and I think I've done most of them, the same principles apply whether it's in the first team or whether you're one of the lads coming to us on Tuesday and Thursday evenings hoping to make a future in the game. Since those early days when I had to do my share in the office, yeah, you came as an office worker as well as a little young professional. Well, not a young professional, young player, young apprentice, as well as play football. I've learned a lot about City and professional football, but that still doesn't put me in a position to guarantee you the results that you want. Not for me, I'm afraid. The bold prediction about how City are going to beat the world tomorrow. You know as well as I do that football is designed to make a mug of too much of that sort of talk. But I'll tell you what I can guarantee you. Whoever plays in our colours will be fit and well prepared for a tough season. They'll play for City because they really want to, and providing nothing unfortunate in the way of injuries befalls us, they will play with the freedom to express themselves. I've got a good team to support me. We all get on well together, and I'm anxious to maintain a good atmosphere behind the scenes and on the field. The biggest thing in our favour is that there's a lot of skill in the club. My job is basically to make it show on match days. You saw some of it at the end of last season, and you'll be seeing it this season too. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll be working hard, very hard for you, and hoping we'll give you something to shout about. Anyhow, I look forward to seeing you at Main Road. So a message from Johnny Hart there, and obviously, if you know your history, you'll just go and find out what happens to Johnny Hart of that season, and that might be interesting to you. And there was a piece by Eric Todd in The Guardian on Main Road. I mean, this was the 50th anniversary of Main Road, if you think about it, 73-74, because we moved to Main Road in 1923. And there's just a little, I won't read all the thing out, but just a little bit about supporters and just a little bit about crowds, etc., which was a little bit of a dig. And yeah, I can understand what he's saying, because obviously we did have the biggest crowd if you think about it, and we obviously had the 84,000. Well, let me just read a bit of what he says. I'll read a couple of paragraphs of what he wrote. So far as Manchester was concerned that day, this is Eric Todd from The Guardian, who obviously we had the Manchester Guardian, didn't we? And this obviously had changed to The Guardian at this time. So obviously, you know, we have a dislike for the press, don't we? But this is interesting. Obviously, wrote in the early 70s. So far as Manchester was concerned, this is what he's talking about, the football, etc. Nothing transcended the importance or interest of the opening of City's new headquarters at Main Road, 1923. The attendance was 60,000. I think it was about 58,000, and the receipts roughly 3,500. And City celebrated the occasion by beating Sheffield United 2-1. With goals by Barnes and Johnson. The Manchester Guardian, as it was then, assigned one of its most distinguished writers, W.P. Crozier, as far as I can recall, to cover the occasion, and he produced a masterpiece of description, rounding it off with his idol to pretend that the game meant much, except it was right that so great a crowd, so finely housed, should have so excellent a show to entertain them. May there be many more. And then this guy goes on to say, Eric Todd, that hope was fulfilled, of course, although except on isolated occasions, the size of the crowd never measured up. That's on the opening day, when the incomparable Max Woosnam, handkerchief and all, left retirement for the day and led the City side. There were more than 76,000 for the City's FA Cup tie against Cardiff in March 24, 84,569 for the Cup tie against Stoke 10 years later, and 82,950 when Manchester United, not yet rehoused at Old Trafford, played Arsenal in the league in January 1948. Over the years there have been many alteration and improvements, except in the press box, but it would appear that you cannot please everyone, and the average attendances have been pitifully small, notwithstanding many notable performances by the various teams and the passing parade of some of the game's most illustrious performers. So a little bit of dig. I mean, I mean, do we need that? It's probably right. I mean, we probably were averaging. You know, I mean, obviously, if you look at my history logs, we're doing the 40s and 50s, etc. And the 50s, obviously, after the war. I mean, we had a ground that could hold 80,000, you know, but we did average between 30 and 40,000. And compared to other teams, we did pretty well. And I've seen a recent table of the best crowds for the teams. I think City is 7th overall in the most spectators through the gate. But if you do think we had the potential for a massive crowd and a massive, you know, with a massive ground, then yeah, it probably was a little bit down. But do we need a little dig in our own magazine? But some things never change, do they? Another great player there. You won't need telling who this guy is, will you? Absolutely fantastic. You'll know that. I'm sure you all know who he is. Weatherseal windows. Are they still going, Weatherseal? I've not seen an advert for a while. Fred Air stationers. The old indomitable Fred Air. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, is there any other? Oh yeah, we've got another image here for you to test your knowledge. Who's this guy? Know who that is? There you go. Well, that brings it to end part one of this little look back at the official handbook 73-74. The staples coming at the side. That could be dangerous, couldn't it? Don't make them like they used to, do they? But I mean, obviously, how old is it? Nearly 50 years old, this book now, so it's quite good, isn't it? Some of the questions, obviously, the phone number. Do you remember the phone number? It was 061 226. Remember the 226? And obviously, you could have a 1191 or 1192. Obviously, we had two extensions in those days, really big things. Ticket office had a slightly different number, 226 treble 24. If you remember ringing up for tickets. City Bingo had their own number, the commercial side. The Social Club was 226 treble 30. I think I read that. I think I rang that one or two times. Yeah, the postcode, of course. Well, the Social Club was classed as M14. I mean, you must have got that bit. 7WM, M for mother. But obviously the club itself was 7WN, N for Northampton. Forgetting me. I know the phonetic alphabet, but you forget it. You forget it when you put on the spot. November. That's it. November. And M is Mikey, obviously. Yeah, I do know my phonetics. So yeah, they were the two numbers if you remember those. The player in action that are shown, obviously, a more closer link was obviously Derek Jeffries. Great image of Derek Jeffries. That's one you might not have got. And the other player, if you remember, was Tony Whelan. Yeah, Tony Whelan was the other player. Watched Tony Whelan a few times. And the other couple of players at the back end of the book, we had, of course, the wonderful, fantastic Limpardo. And of course, Mr. Towers, Mr. Tony Towers. That's another one you might have struggled on. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that look. Part 1, and please join me for part 2 at some stage. Keep your eye out for that. If you enjoyed 1973-74 part 1 of the Manchester City FC Supporters Club official book. Hope you enjoyed that anyway. And please, as I said, I'll join me for part 2 when I do that. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Please follow me on Twitter if you're interested, obviously, in City. And if you're interested in movies and TV dramas, I do vlogs on movies and TV dramas as well. They're all on the playlist, so if you have a look around my YouTube channel. But on Twitter, I'm at Charles Deneen, with Deneen spelled D-I-N-N-N. I'm on Twitter also at nostalgia_movie. So you can follow me on either of those. They're both linked together and both pretty much copy each other. And I'm on Facebook at Burn Deneen with links to moviegamenostalgia.com, my little website for old rare DVDs, movie posters from the 90s and 2000s, and some old retro board games like Waddington's, Parker games, MB games. So you can find a couple of minutes to have a look on there. I'll give you, if I could give you a thumbs up, I would. So that's moviegamenostalgia.com. Anyway, thanks for watching today. Whatever you're going to do with the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. Let's all look after each other at this time. Anyway, this is Bernard saying goodbye for now. Hopefully, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.